last night, the venue had the familiar trappings of industry glamour. Chandeliers that the low, attractive women spend their lives not to watch. But something about the air felt with them. A softness that made the veterans in the rooms sit straighter, like everyone sent a story about the turn. New Long and Yang Mei Mei arrived like they always do, wasteful, measured, with the kind of quiet charisma that makes cameras bleed easier. And yet by the time they left, the tenor of the fandom had changed in small, irrevocable ways. Fans didn't just cheer, they leaned in, as if love were being redefined and redefined. It started with a look, not the photographer-ready gaze or a staged smile, but the tiny, private glances that happen between people who have invented their private language. The tilt of an eyebrow that says, "I see you," the half-smile that holds a joke only they understand. Anyone trained to watch could see it, and anyone who had ever loved someone in secret felt it like a memory. That look expanded outward like ripple and wind. It made the usual applause sound like a backdrop to something that felt intimate, personal, true. The cameras caught it, but it was the crowd who felt it first. Cheers bubbled into applause and then into sustained, full-hearted noise. Their entrance into the main hall was simple, lacking the usual dramatic choreography. Long walked ahead, naming a fraction of time, hand in hand. But what struck people was the way they paused at the edge of the stage and allowed the room to be quiet. He spoke first, not with a clipped polish of scripted remarks, but with a tone that carried the texture of someone who had been thinking about people and choices long enough to have patience. "We wanted tonight to be about more than glitz," he said, voice warm and steady. "We wanted it to be about the stories that told us." Mei Mei added a short, laughing line about small acts of courage. The audience laughed with her, then listened, and by the time they sat, the room felt tethered to them, heart first. What made fans love them more was not a single grand gesture, but a sequence of tiny human things that, stitched together, created the sense of being seen. When they accepted an award, you long thanked not just the obvious names, but the grips, the craftspersons, the unpaid interns, and the parents who waited outside studios. He named specifics: a sound engineer who stayed late, a seamstress who fixed a hem, and each shout-out felt like an act of reparation the audience had not expected. Those names landed like soft stones thrown into a pond. Fans returned to their phones with a new message. These are people who care about people. The comment sections filled with surprise and suddenly proud admiration for a star who uses his moment on stage to illuminate others. Mei Mei's speech was quieter, but no less powerful. She spoke about mistakes, the kind that life makes you live through, and about how narratives have a habit of simplifying human complexity into headlines. "We are more complicated than a photo," she said, and the line was uncomplicated honesty delivered with a kind of bravery that makes fans feel protective. There was no exhibitionism in her vulnerability. It was disciplined, almost elegant. Fans who had once clipped her interviews for sound bites now found themselves replaying entire segments, not for gossip but for the human detail. The tremor in her voice when she said "family," the small laugh after a memory of a rehearsal that had gone wrong. Those imperfections made her feel less like a star and more like an old friend. Beyond the speeches, what made last night linger in fans' hearts were the private moments that, quietly managed, became public gifts. There was a part of the evening when the couple walked through a corridor lined with volunteers and local theater students. Instead of breezing past, they stopped and listened, really listened, as young performers recited lines, shy and tremulous. Long crouched to adjust a violinist's bow grip. Mei Mei knelt to tie a shoelace for a child who had snagged their costume. These acts were small and easily overlooked, but when footage circulated, fans watched them on loop and began to post their own memories of when a small kindness changed their life. The internet responded not with the usual needle of critique, but with warmth, testimony, and the kind of communal gratitude that binds fandom into something resembling a community. Social media's immediate reaction showed the subtlety of this change. Instead of threads filled with fashion breakdowns or scandalous speculation, timelines bloomed with stories from strangers. Someone who had met the couple briefly years ago and been treated like a person. A young filmmaker who had received a handwritten note from Long encouraging her first short, a seamstress who remembered Mei Mei sending a thank you basket after a local shoot. Fans began to exchange their own small kindnesses, inspired by a couple who modeled that generosity. The tone shifted from consume and discard to notice a heap. Influential pages that usually mined clips for cynical narrative instead curated warmth, compiling a montage of modest, human interactions that define the couple's night as a lesson in humility. Press coverage followed the pattern. Instead of the instant hot take, several thoughtful outlets did something that feels rare. They slowed down. Long-form pieces explored the couple's history of charity work, their efforts to create fair contracts for non-professional cast members, and the quiet campaigns to fund local community theaters. Journalists interviewed municipal arts coordinators who confirmed the couple's behind-the-scenes generosity. Those pieces did not exonerate them from critique. Some journalists still asked sharp questions about image and intention, but the debate moved from the shallow to the substantive. Fans discovered new evidence of consistent values, not a one-night PR pivot. That accumulation of context changed how many viewers felt. Respect grew into trust. Another factor was the couple's refusal to monetize every intimate moment. In an age where every gesture risks becoming a sponsored content moment, Long and Mei Mei kept several parts of the night unbranded. When they shared photos afterward, they released a single, candid black and white image of the two of them backstage. No filter, no logo, no caption beyond a simple thank you. That decision was quietly radical. Fans perceived it not as a marketing omission but as an ethical choice, a deliberate preservation of intimacy. The fandom responded by honoring that restraint. Many fan pages pledged not to repost invasive photos, amplifying a culture of respect the couple had asked for without saying it outright. What also added to the swell of affection was how the couple used humor to disarm the cynics. During an interview break, when a minor wardrobe malfunction threatened to steal the headlines, Mei Mei laughed about it, called it the Great Sock Betrayal, and invited a fashion student on stage to explain the fix. The student's astonished delight became a viral moment. Hundreds of comments celebrated not just the fix, but the humility of inviting someone unexpected to share the limelight. Fans loved the gesture because it cut through artifice and reminded everyone of the benefit of honest mistakes turned into community moments. Backstage, where the cameras seldom linger, staff members relayed small stories that helped deepen the fandom's affection. One assistant recounted how Long had stayed after rehearsals to clean up the green room, arranging leftover water bottles and leaving a thank you note for the crew. Another shared how Mei Mei, after a long day, quietly sat with a trainee who was anxious about their first on-camera job and talked them through breathing exercises. Those stories, when leaked, did not feel like scandal. They felt like a dossier of decency. Fans picked them up and wove them into a larger tapestry. Here are two public figures who, in private, treat people with abundant kindness. The couple's gestures also had political resonance. Fans noticed when they used their platform to highlight underfunded community arts programs, naming specific projects and small grant opportunities rather than issuing vague promises. They asked for donations to particular local theaters, matched funds, and even organized volunteer days where fans could help paint sets or build props. That active engagement converted affection into participation. For many fans, love translated into action, donating, volunteering, showing up. The relationship between celebrity and community felt, for a moment, reciprocal rather than extractive. And then there was the aesthetic generosity of their art choices that night. The films they highlighted in a special segment were not the usual glossy blockbusters. Instead, they curated a program of short films by emerging directors from underrepresented regions. When their curated selections elicited standing ovations, the crowd cheered not just for cinematic merit, but for the imagined futures those small films represented. Fans felt proud to be part of a fandom that had helped lift lesser-known storytellers into the light. The narrative shifted. Long and Mei Mei were not only icons to admire, but leaders who used the spotlight to reorient attention toward new talent. Critics, of course, remained, and their voices were necessary. Some reminded viewers that philanthropy and good manners do not erase structural issues, that image management can be sophisticated and performative. But even many critics conceded that last night's event contained real gestures that could not be dismissed out of hand. The measured critiques became part of a robust conversation fans engaged in rather than recoiled from. People debated sincerely about celebrity responsibility, about whether small acts of kindness are enough, about how to convert moments of goodwill into lasting policy shifts within the industry. That kind of engaged critique, passionate but not hateful, felt like a maturation in public discourse, and fans participated in it. By the event's close, a simple fact had settled into the feeds and private messages. The couple's choices had occasioned not only applause but an emotional investment that felt mutual. Fans did not simply adore them from afar. They felt invited into a reciprocity, to be kinder, to notice labor, to support small artists, and to protect intimacy. The affection surrounding Long Yang Mei Mei had the texture of something durable because it was anchored in consistent behaviors, invited participation, and modeled modesty in an industry used to spectacle. In the quiet after the lights dimmed and the city reclaimed its noise, fans curated their own artifacts of the night. Essays about why small acts matter, playlists of songs the couple mentioned, threads of personal stories responding to the couple's shoutouts. The fandom spilled into offline support. Community theater volunteers signed up for shifts, donations trickled into local film funds, and 100 small kindnesses followed in the wake of the event. For many, that was the deepest proof that the night had meant something more than a headline. If we look back, we won't remember the exact dress, the glittering backdrop, or even the most circulated clip. We will more likely recall the way people leaned forward at once like a single organism and how a couple's small, thoughtful acts recalibrated the energy of an evening. Fans loved them more because Long and Yang Mei Mei asked for something simple and radical, not attention for its own sake, but attention used to lift others, to protect privacy, and to invite participation. That is why, after last night, the fandom did not simply trend. It became a minor movement toward kindness, and for many, that mattered more than any award. Whether you've been following them for years or you just joined the journey recently, this video will take you through every emotional layer of the night. It captures the brightness of the cameras, the softness of their smiles, the whispers fans caught on video, and all the tiny gestures that made millions scream. They are perfect together. Do you remember that tiny, impossible pause? The one that comes right before everyone realizes something is about to change? The orchestra had softened, applause was still in the air, and the gala felt like a long, beautiful sigh. Long took the stage to give what everyone expected would be a polished acceptance or a safe thank you. Instead, the whole room tilted. He held a small velvet box in one hand, but he looked less like a script-bound star and more like a man trying to hold a secret steady inside his chest. The opening line landed without fanfare. "There are moments we keep to ourselves," he said, voice low in a room suddenly so loud with attention that every sound felt like a trespass. He glanced at Yang Mei Mei, not the camera-ready image that trended on screens, not the stylized public myth, but the woman he had learned to protect in small, ordinary gestures. That look was the kind that tells you this is not a career move, but a life choice. The audience leaned in because even fame understands when something private is being offered in public with care. She was already crying before he finished the sentence. The cameras did what cameras do. They filled the internet with grain and magnified breath. But the real scene, Long unclasping the box and kneeling, felt like a private act stretched across a public stage. There was no rehearsal for that thickness in the air. Choirs of phones rose like small stars, each recording the moment, each promising to distribute it. Still, for the couple, the moment itself was simple and fierce. A man kneeling in front of a woman he loved, asking a question he had rehearsed for months and decided to ask only when the world could see him be small and true. "You are my compass," he said, and the language was spare because the best vows rarely need ornaments. "You have been the quiet room I return to when the noise of the world threatens to drown me. Will you marry me?" It was not performative or designed for virality. It was a line that carried the weight of late-night conversations, the small compromises that love requires, and the tiny rebellions of choosing each other again and again. When she said yes, it was not an answer in a bubble of applause, but a surrender and an affirmation, the two most complicated things a human being gives. The shock, for viewers at home and fans in the hall, was layered. On the surface, it was spectacle, a public proposal at an event where nothing like this had been expected. But beneath it was a texture of history. The couple had been through whispers, staged rumors, feast and famine cycles of attention, and orchestrated PR. They had learned how public narratives can swallow tenderness and spit out a version of truth shaped for headlines. This proposal cut through all of that with the bluntness of sincerity. The world reacted the only way it knows how, with a noise so loud the internet briefly forgot to judge and simply watched. Cameras followed the arc of their faces, the small catch of breath in Mei Mei's throat, the steadiness that returned to Yulong's shoulders when she nodded, the way his hands trembled as he slid the ring on. There was a moment when you could see both of them blink at the same surprise, at their own courage, or at the sudden clarity of a public commitment. The kiss that followed was neither the slow-motion flourish that editors love nor the brief peck tabloids prefer. It was close and honest, two mouths learning again how to be ordinary together in a room full of extraordinary light. Fans erupted in a way that felt more like relief than celebration. Chat rooms burst into confetti of text, the clips shuttled through platforms, edited and re-edited, soundtracked and memed. Yet beneath the energy of immediate reaction flowed a quieter current. Many fans felt vindicated in the patience they'd practiced, those who had defended the couple through rumor and rumor's uglier cousins. Podcasts